divine revelation. 7 miraculous steps to manifest your heavenly winning season now. In the humble heart of Harmony Chapel, a flicker of divine presence was whispered about among the congregation. Every pew vibrated with fervent prayers, each one a tiny spark in the dark. Sarah's faith, however, felt like the fragile flame at the end of a long tunnel. As she knelt, clutching her rosary beads, her son Jacob's struggle with illness weighed heavily. Doctors spoke in grave tones, wrapping their diagnoses in heavy coats of dread. Yet in this sacred space, the air shimmered with a promise of hope, healing, and fiery miracles. Step closer in faith. Allow the light in, the elder stated, his voice echoing through the stillness. Sarah could almost believe him. Miraculous stories danced in the air like candles flickering near the altar. Was it true? Could St. Jude really unleash hope from hopelessness? She had her doubts, but the warmth of her community enveloped her like a soft quilt. "There's a story about a stranger, you know," murmured Mary, sitting beside Sarah, her eyes sparkling. "He prayed for his daughter, and in the split of a moment, she was healed. We just need to believe." Each word clutched at Sarah's heart, pulling her deeper into the web of faith that bound them all. The congregation erupted with passion as they joined in prayer, their voices swelling to a crescendo that vibrated through the wooden beams of the chapel. "St. Jude, hear our cries." They were soldiers of faith, marching resolutely into the unknown, sustaining Sarah's faltering heart. Around her, hands lifted, clasped in shared devotion, faces aglow with unbeatable hope. But doubt fluttered in Sarah's mind like a trapped bird. What if her prayers were echoes against indifferent walls? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. One night, as the rest of the world slumbered, Sarah found herself in a fierce wrestle with God. "Why this darkness, Lord? Why my child?" Her whispered anguish met a profound silence that felt almost tangible. Yet in that quiet desperation, an image emerged seemingly out of nowhere of Jacob playing, laughing. With every heartbeat, she clung tighter to that vision. And then, like an orchestra tuning to an unseen conductor, a gentle light illuminated her room. It sparkled, danced, wrapping around her like warmth in winter. Sarah felt her resolve shift. Perhaps faith was more profound than she thought. Could God be listening, even now? Just when despair clung to her like a shroud, she awoke to Jacob's laughter echoing in the home. The miracle was undeniable. His condition transformed overnight, flickering like the light beneath a lamp turned on. The room pulsed with renewed energy. The community rejoiced, their faith ignited like wildflowers blooming in spring's first warmth. Sarah's heart raced as hope surged. Through her veins her whispers had been heard. Yet, amid the joy ringing through Harmony Chapel, a single troubling thought loomed on the horizon. Was this the end of trials, or merely the beginning of something greater? As her community sang songs of triumph around her, Sarah couldn't shake the weight of her unanswered questions stirring like leaves in a sudden breeze. Would her faith endure, and what divine mysteries lay ahead? As the joyous melodies enveloped Harmony Chapel, Sarah took a moment to breathe in the fragrance of hope that hung in the air, rich and overwhelming. Yet, beneath the vibrant celebrations, a whisper of uncertainty lingered at the edges of her heart. "Sarah," a kind voice interrupted her thoughts. It was Mary again, her eyes glistening. "Did you see the way Jacob glowed? God is at work. He always is." "Yes," Sarah replied, her heart swelling with gratitude. "But what if this moment of joy is just a fleeting light?" Mary shook her head gently. "You've witnessed a miracle. Faith builds on faith. Hold on to this." The The women locked eyes, and Sarah felt fortified by the simple conviction in Mary's words. Yet, as the chants echoing through the chapel subsided into soft whispers of thanksgiving, she couldn't shake the gnawing feeling, a gentle nudge from the Spirit itself urging her to seek and understand more deeply the path ahead. Days turned into weeks, and the transformation in Jacob remained not just visible, but palpable. His laughter rang throughout their home like music. Each giggle, each smile felt like a sunbeam illuminating the shadows that had once threatened to consume their lives. But with the dawn of joy came the rise of questions. Sarah found herself returning to the chapel more frequently, leaning closer to the teachings shared within those sacred walls. One evening, an unexpected visitor arrived at the chapel, an elderly woman draped in a flowing cloak, her presence radiant. "Seek, and you shall find," she called, her voice carrying an otherworldly wisdom. As she approached, the congregation fell silent, entranced. God's grace shines brightest where fear dares tread. Your trials, Sarah, are stepping stones toward a grander purpose. A ripple of murmurs coursed through the congregation, each breath tinged with awe. Sarah stepped forward, captivated. "But how can I ensure my faith stays strong? What comes next?" "Cling to him," the woman instructed, her arms opened wide as if she could embrace every soul present. Every prayer, every moment of doubt is a chance to grow closer. You're being called to new heights in this journey. Those words sank deep into Sarah's heart. She felt them take root, stretching her spirit. But as the warmth of her newfound faith ignited her resolve, another concern flickered in the back of her mind. What indeed awaited her on this path? Sarah's heart raced as she contemplated the journey, her spirit aching with both joy and apprehension. Could she rise to meet the challenges ahead? That night, she knelt by her bed, gripping her rosary beads tightly. A prayer tumbled from her lips, each word dripping with urgency. "Lord, guide me. Teach me. Let's walk together as family. Let my faith be unwavering." Suddenly, a flicker of light swept through the darkness of her room, casting shadows and illuminating corners she didn't know existed. There in that light was a sense of invitation, beckoning her to dive deeper into the ocean of the unknown. With her heart tender yet pounding, she understood this was simply the prologue. What glorious revelations were on the horizon? As dawn broke on the next day, a sense of urgency gripped her. Was God leading her somewhere beyond her imagination? Was there a greater purpose emerging for her and Jacob? She stepped outside to face the world anew, ready for whatever lay ahead, while humming notes of anticipation. What divine mystery awaited her on this journey? With her heart racing, Sarah resolved to find out. And as she turned toward Harmony Chapel, questions still swirling, she knew one thing for certain: the greatest revelations often live on the brink of the unknown. As sunlight cascaded through the trees, each ray felt like a gentle nudge from heaven. Sarah stepped onto the path leading to Harmony Chapel, her spirit dancing with the promise of what was to come. The air tingled with expectancy, and she sensed that the day held something uniquely profound. Entering the chapel, the sight was breathtaking. The congregation was already gathered, their faces lit with an eager glow. Each person whispered prayers, their voices a harmonious melody, lifting the atmosphere higher. Sarah felt the palpable energy of collective faith swirling around her, and she couldn't help but smile. She made her way to an open space near the front. As she settled, the elderly woman from before suddenly appeared again, just as radiant, with her flowing cloak whispering softly around her. "You seek clarity," she said directly to Sarah, her voice both soothing and powerful. "Yes," Sarah breathed, leaning in. "What am I meant to understand?" The woman smiled knowingly. "There are 7 steps unfolding before you, a journey bridged by faith and divine guidance. Each step will lead you deeper into God's mysteries and closer to the purpose He has woven for you and Jacob." With those words, Sarah's heart raced in anticipation. 7 steps, it sounded like a promise and a path all at once. First, the woman continued, embrace the spirit of gratitude. Each day, awaken with blessings on your lips. See the miracles in the mundane. The simple act of gratitude transforms barriers into bridges. Sarah nodded, a warmth blooming within her. Gratitude had already begun to change her life. She felt it more with each laugh and smile she shared with Jacob. Second, the woman instructed, find stillness in his presence. Establish sacred moments of quiet where you can sit and listen. In the silence, you will hear his voice illuminating your path. As the woman spoke, Sarah recalled the flicker of light she had seen that night. Was that God calling her to those moments of stillness? Third, the woman pressed, serve your community. Acts of kindness ripple outward, touching lives and drawing souls closer to Christ. It's in giving that you receive. A vision flared in Sarah's mind of how much love their neighbors had shown to her family during Jacob's illness. What if she could return that love in tangible ways? Fourth, trust the process. Faith is often a labyrinth of twists and turns. You will face challenges. Use them to strengthen your belief. Every struggle is rich with lessons if you remain anchored in trust. Tears swelled in Sarah's eyes. How had she, so often fearful about the future, overlooked the blessings waiting to unfold through challenges? Fifth, share your story. Your testimony carries power. It has the potential to lift others up, revealing the life-changing work God is doing in your midst. She was reminded of Jacob's laughter, a beacon of hope that could inspire others. The sixth step is to seek guidance from those who have walked this path of faith. Surround yourself with mentors, wise souls who can offer gentleness in moments of doubt. And finally, she felt an overwhelming eagerness for the final step, aching to know how it would anchor her faith journey. Seventh, the woman declared, her voice vibrant with energy, be ready for the unexpected. God moves in ways beyond our comprehension. Embrace surprises, for they are gifts adorned in divine packaging. The moment hung in the air, sacred and thick with revelation. Sarah sensed a burning inside her, a holy push toward fulfillment. The elderly woman's gaze deepened. Now go forth, Sarah. Step into this journey with courage. Each step will unfold your divine calling. With renewed vigor, Sarah inhaled deeply, knowing that she was on the brink of something remarkable. A new chapter awaited her, one painted with faith, joy, and awe-inspiring possibilities. Her heart sang with a mix of hope and wonder as she pondered the steps ahead. But as she left the chapel, the question loomed larger. What would the first step reveal about the path God had set before her? The adventure had just begun. As Sarah walked away from Harmony Chapel, the sun shining warmly on her face, she felt a sudden lightness in her heart. Each step echoed the promise of transformation, and the world around her seemed to hum with potential. Remembering the first step, embracing gratitude, she paused and took a deep breath, allowing the moment to settle around her. The vibrant colors of the flowers lining the path caught her eye, and she couldn't help but smile. "Thank you, Lord," she whispered, trying to drink in the beauty. The joy she felt was profound, tinged with the quiet undercurrent of expectation. That afternoon, Sarah wandered into her neighborhood, eager to take her first step. Each familiar sight, a kind neighbor watering her garden, children playing on the swings, spoke to her heart. She had often seen these moments and brushed past them, but today they glowed like treasures. "Good afternoon, Mrs. Thompson," Sarah called out, waving as she approached the elderly woman. Her smile brightened, and the warmth between them lifted Sarah's spirit. "Hello, dear. It's a lovely day, isn't it?" Mrs. Thompson replied, her voice coated in joy. "Yes, it is. I was just thinking about how blessed we are to have so much love around us." Sarah looked into the woman's eyes. "I'd love to help you in your garden this week. I can come over any afternoon you need." Mrs. Thompson's eyes sparkled with appreciation. "Oh, bless your heart. That would be wonderful. I could use an extra hand preparing for the church bake sale." As they chatted, Sarah felt a warm glow within her. This small act felt like planting a seed of kindness. The joy of giving soared in her heart, confirming the very promise of God's love she longed to share. That evening, as she lay beside Jacob, the evening light soft against the walls, Sarah reflected on the day. The episode with Mrs. Thompson filled her with a sense of fulfillment she had not known before. In sharing gratitude, she had stumbled upon a deeper connection, both to her neighbor and to God. In her quiet, contemplative moment, she grasped the essence of the second step. The notion of stillness resonated strongly. She yearned to establish sacred moments of quietude, where God could speak into her soul. In the soft moonlight that filled her room, she closed her eyes and breathed deeply, envisioning the light she had witnessed before, the flicker of divine connection calling her into that stillness. "Lord, show me how to listen," she prayed. The answer came not through words, but in the simple hush of the night, the soft rustle of leaves, and the distant sounds of crickets. The silence held possibilities, an invitation to deepen her relationship with the Almighty. Days passed, and with each moment of reflection and quiet, Sarah felt more anchored in her faith. She found herself drawn to the devotional texts she had once overlooked. Their words spoke directly to her journey, and she felt as if they were breadcrumbs leading her closer to God's embrace. Yet, as excitement built within her heart for the journey ahead, an undeniable question gnawed at her thoughts. How would the next step of this pilgrimage look? What unexpected challenges would she face that would sharpen her trust? One evening, after reading about the power of shared testimonies, Sarah decided to take that leap. She gathered her courage and reached out to the women from her community group. "I'd love to share my story next week," she texted, her heart racing as she hit send. Would they accept her vulnerability? Would her story resonate with others? Her hands trembled with both excitement and fear, a mixture she was now learning to embrace. And just then, as she prepared for sleep, an idea flickered in her mind, igniting the flame of anticipation once more. What transformations would arise from sharing her heart? Would her story echo God's love and healing? The uncertainty sparked a new thrill within her. This was just the beginning. What would step 2 reveal about the constancy of God's presence in her life? The unfolding story was still in its infancy. The days slipped by in a gentle rhythm, each one stitched together by Sarah's growing sense of purpose. She spent afternoons in Mrs. Thompson's garden, the earth warm beneath her fingers, soaking in the joy that filled each shared laugh. The connection blossomed like the flowers they tended, a sacred bond nurtured in kindness. Then came the day, the one she had been anticipating and dreading all at once. The evening of her community group arrived with a flurry of emotions: anticipation, doubt, excitement. As she dressed, her reflection stared back at her, a mixture of confidence and trepidation. "Just be yourself," she murmured to that reflection, seeking reassurance in the familiar face that gazed back. The church hall was buzzing with chatter when she arrived, a warm tableau of familiar smiles. Sarah eased into the circle, a cluster of chairs forming a safe space. Yet her heart raced as she sensed the weight of her vulnerability. Each woman's face radiated warmth, but the heat of her unease simmered below the surface. "Who would like to share?" The group leader, a woman named Claire, asked, her eyes inviting. Sarah's heart leaped. It was time. As she gathered her thoughts, a gentle hand squeezed hers. It was Rachel, a dear friend who had walked alongside her during challenging times. The simple gesture ignited a flicker of courage within her. Sarah closed her eyes briefly, allowing a calmness to wash over her. "I'd like to share," she began, her voice barely above a whisper. The room fell silent, a reverent hush enveloping her like a warm embrace. With each word, she opened the door to her heart, the joy she had tasted, the darkness she had traversed, and the promises of hope she now clung to. As she spoke, she saw God's light reflected in the faces around her. Tears glistened in some eyes. Others nodded along, sharing unspoken memories of their own. A sense of collective spirit enveloped them, weaving a divine tapestry of understanding and love. When she concluded, a soft, holy silence lingered. Then, one by one, the women shared their own stories, open and raw, a beautiful exchange of lives interwoven in faith. Each testimony felt like a brushstroke in God's masterpiece, revealing a greater picture of grace and redemption. Sarah's heart swelled with gratitude. In that moment, she understood the essence of community and how powerful it was to step into the light with her truth. God was present among them, stitching their hearts together through shared experiences. "Thank you, Lord," she whispered inwardly as smiles bloomed and laughter mingled with words of encouragement. As they finished their gathering, a newfound energy electrified the air. The words they shared were seeds of hope that would grow in the soil of each soul present. Sarah felt lighter, yet more grounded. Through this moment of vulnerability, she had discovered not just her voice, but the power of connection in God's family. However, buried in her heart was a new question that began to surface. What would the next step ask of her? Would she continue to step forward in faith, inviting others into their sacred journey? The flicker of uncertainty ignited an inexplicable anticipation in her spirit. She grasped her friend Rachel's hand, a silent promise of support for the road ahead. With doors now unlocked through their shared stories, what other revelations awaited them? Would they find even deeper truths woven into their lives, drawing them closer to the heart of God? As Sarah looked around at her friends, the words from their shared testimonies echoed in her heart. What is our next step toward deeper connection? The journey was just beginning, and the divine awaited. The following week arrived, filled with a sense of tender anticipation. The whispers of change stirred in Sarah's heart, mingling with the vibrant colors of autumn. Each leaf that danced to the ground felt like an invitation, a welcoming into something new, something deeper. On Wednesday, the community group met again. This time, Sarah entered the room with a heart eager for connection. She had prayed all week, opening herself to God's guidance. She could feel the potential buzzing around her, just as the golden rays cut through the crisp air outside. What would this gathering bring? As they settled into their circle, Claire opened with a gentle word of prayer, enveloping all in the warmth of God's presence. Sarah's heart fluttered as she listened to the voices harmonizing in faith, creating a beautiful melody of gratitude for the blessings they shared. "Tonight, let us explore the theme of gratitude," Claire suggested, her eyes sparkling with purpose. "We often overlook the small things. What has God revealed to you in your daily life?" One by one, the women began to speak, weaving stories of quiet miracles, small acts of kindness, moments of divine timing, and the relief of burdens lifted. Each share ignited a flicker of recognition in Sarah's soul. They were grounding their experiences in faith, recognizing that the extraordinary often hid within the ordinary. When it was Sarah's turn, she felt a fierce light burgeoning in her spirit. "I've learned to see God's hand in the little things," she began, every word spilling forth as if it had been waiting for the right moment to be released. "It's in the smile of a stranger, the hug of a friend, and even the laughter shared in Mrs. Thompson's garden. These moments remind me of His love, a wave of understanding washed over those gathered." They nodded in silent agreement, as if Sarah's words opened a floodgate of collective gratitude, filling the room with resonance that transcended the mundane. Then Rachel shared a moment that shifted the atmosphere, her voice trembling slightly. 2 weeks ago, I received news that turned my world upside down. I was terrified, but in my darkest time, I felt a deep peace wash over me. I realized it was God, showing me that even in chaos, there's a promise, a calling to trust. Gasps of empathy echoed throughout the room. Each woman felt the weight of Rachel's struggle and the grace of her revelation. Sarah gazed around at her friends, hearts unearthing their fears, while simultaneously revealing how God's grace hugged their broken pieces. Feeling bold, Sarah asked, "What if we each made it our mission this week to find something new every day to be thankful for? To share that gratitude with someone else?" The group murmured in agreement, voices bubbling with excitement. It felt like a seed had been planted, ready to germinate in the soil of their community. Hope lit their faces. Sarah's suggestion unfolded like petals in the sun, beckoning them toward deeper connections with each other and with God. As laughter filled the air, Sarah's spirit soared. She recognized that this was not just about the week to come. It was a step into a new season of learning and intimacy with the Lord. "Thank you, Lord," she breathed softly, her heart swelling with gratitude for the community that blossomed around her. But amidst that joy, another question stilled her heart. What if being thankful led to something even deeper than gratitude? What if it turned their hearts towards purpose in ways they could not yet understand? The moment crackled with divine possibility, urging them forward into the unknown. What treasures might await us on this journey? She wondered silently, excitement weaving through her outlook as they clasped hands in a final prayer, hearts committed to seeking more, ever more from the divine. The week stretched on, shimmering with opportunity. Each day, Sarah embraced her commitment to gratitude. She jotted down simple moments in her journal. The sun's warm touch against her skin, the sound of children's soft laughter in the park, and the sweet aroma of her morning coffee. She found herself awakening to life in ways she hadn't seen before. Thursday evening arrived, and the women reconvened, the room now humming with expectancy. Claire's smiling face welcomed them, reflecting an energy that felt almost electric. "Tonight, let us share our gratitude stories. What have you found over the past week?" she invited, her voice a melody of encouragement. As each woman began to share, Sarah's heart swelled with joy. Each story was like a precious gem, light dancing through them. Lisa spoke of a neighbor who surprised her with flowers, an act of kindness that reminded her she wasn't alone. Emma shared a moment when she had unexpectedly helped a colleague find strength during a tough time, feeling God guide her words. But it was Rachel who took Sarah's breath away once again. "I didn't just find something to be thankful for," she said, her eyes bright with awareness. "I found a calling. I've been volunteering at the shelter every weekend, and it's as if I've stepped into a purpose. Serving others fills me with an indescribable joy that goes beyond just gratitude. It feels like God is revealing his plan for me." The room fell silent, the weight of Rachel's words resonating with everyone. What if their daily gratitude was only the beginning? What if it was a pathway into deeper revelations and directions from God? In that moment, a thought struck Sarah. She turned to the group. What if we took this a step further? Not just sharing our gratitude, but seeking out opportunities to act on it? Compassion could lead to transformation for not just us, but for those around us. A ripple of murmurs followed, their eyes lighting up with the spark of inspiration. "Let us choose one act of kindness each day," Zoe suggested, her excitement bubbling forth. "Let us cultivate gratitude not only in our hearts, but also in our hands." The impact was palpable, like a breath of fresh air sweeping through the room. Women began to share ideas, leaving encouraging notes for strangers, helping at community kitchens, calling a friend in need. The air buzzed with fervor, each idea igniting a holy fire of purpose. They prayed together, but this time their prayer radiated a new energy. It felt powerful and sweeping, as their hearts united in an intention that felt contagious. Sarah couldn't help but wonder if this challenge was just a glimpse into what God ultimately planned for them, a divine adventure that was unfurling in real time. As they wrapped up, Sarah felt a stirring deep within. What if there's even more we're meant to discover? She reflected, her heart thumping with anticipation. What new depths of faith and purpose can arise from our willingness to act out of gratitude? The question hung in the air, a sweet invitation to dive deeper. There was a promise, a sense of divine momentum building around them, as if they were on the brink of something extraordinary. And with that, a new journey beckoned, teasing its significance just out of reach. What would this act of love awaken in their hearts? Where would their new mission lead them next? The following week dawned bright and promising, laced with anticipation. Sarah awoke each day with a renewed sense of purpose, her heart a wellspring of gratitude. She could hardly contain the energy bubbling inside her. It felt like a seed taking root and pushing through the soil toward the sun. As the days flowed onward, the women's commitment to acts of kindness began to shape their lives in remarkable ways. Each morning, as Sarah sipped her coffee, she pondered what small gesture she could offer to the world outside her door. After the sun dipped low in the sky, the group would gather once more. There was a tangible sense of exhilaration in the air. Today was a game changer for me, Emma shared one evening, her eyes sparkling. I helped a single mother at the grocery store. She was struggling to find enough change to pay for her groceries. I simply slipped her the extra notes I had in my pocket without thinking twice. The way her face lit up, it was like seeing a little piece of heaven. Cheers of affirmation erupted, inspiring other women to share their stories. Lisa recounted how she had spent an hour at the local animal shelter, helping socialize the abandoned cats, experiencing a deep connection with each purring creature. Rachel spoke passionately about a moment at the shelter when a person broke down in tears, feeling heard and understood. Her words flowed with purpose, a beautiful tapestry woven through shared experiences. Yet, it was Claire's story that illuminated the room. Today, I stepped out of my comfort zone. She began, breathing deeply as she spoke. I visited a nursing home, thinking I might bring joy to the residents. Instead, I found that they were the ones showering me with love. I had no idea how desperately they needed a listening ear, how many stories they had to share. I left with tears in my eyes and a heart so full, I couldn't wait to go back. Sarah's heart swelled with inspiration. Every sharing was like a flame igniting more conviction in her spirit, strengthening the bond they were forming. So many acts of kindness, so many opportunities to touch lives. Maybe we could expand our reach, Sarah suggested, excitement surging within her. What if we created a community event, a day dedicated to giving back collectively and inviting others to join our mission? The room erupted with lively chatter, ideas pouring forth like a waterfall, free meals at a local park, clothing drives, even a talent show to raise funds for charity. Each concept built upon the last, weaving them into a vibrant quilt of hope. Claire paused, gazing around at her friends. What if we also invited the people we helped to share their stories? Their experiences could ignite more hearts. Their voices lifted in unison, warm and vibrant, echoing in the welcoming space. Sarah's heart was alive with the thought of expanding their impact. What joy and revelation would arise from inviting others into this journey. As they finished praying that night, the atmosphere shimmered with possibility. Each woman held a spark, a tiny flicker of divine inspiration that felt larger than life itself. Stepping out into the night air, Sarah felt the cool breeze wrap around her, as if it carried whispers of encouragement. What awaited them on this path was unknown but achingly beautiful. It was as if God was orchestrating a symphony of love, inviting all to join in the joyful chorus. Could this be the beginning of something much bigger? She pondered, a smile dancing on her lips. As she closed her eyes, she could almost hear the distant echo of lives transformed. What would their collective efforts lead to? Could their small acts of love blossom into a movement of divine compassion? The questions lingered, heavy with the promise of what was to come. As the dawn broke on the day of their planned community event, excitement crackled in the air. Sarah could feel it in her bones, this palpable energy that seemed to radiate from every corner of her heart. She had awakened earlier than usual, her spirit buoyed by a sense of purpose and anticipation. Today was the day they would unleash their love upon the world. The gathering place was the local park, verdant and inviting, adorned with colorful banners that fluttered like joyful flags in the breeze. Volunteers from the neighborhood mixed with the women from their group, each one eager to be part of something larger than themselves. As Sarah set up tables, Her mind buzzed with memories of their shared stories, the glittering moments of joy and unexpected connections that had transformed each of them. Emma hurried over, carrying a cooler full of drinks. "We're ready to go. Sarah, look at all the people trickling in." Her voice was lively, full of that infectious enthusiasm that had united these women in the first place. Sarah's heart soared. The sight of faces old and young, familiar and new highlighted the strength of their collective mission. They were all joining hands in an unspoken bond of promise to uplift, love, and heal. She looked around, noticing Claire speaking with a group of children, sharing laughter and stories. It warmed Sarah's heart to see how easily kindness flowed from one person to another. As the sun began to rise higher in the sky, Rachel took the makeshift microphone. "Thank you all for coming today. We're not just here to give, but to connect," she called out, her voice cutting through the rustling leaves. "Today, we aim to build bridges in our community, bridges of love, compassion, and understanding." The crowd cheered, a beautiful tapestry of voices intertwining. There was joy and anticipation in the air, a divine spark ignited by the collective spirit of giving. Sarah discerned a deeper calling unfolding before them. The mundane transformed into the extraordinary. Their little gathering felt like a holy convergence, a gathering of hearts in agreement with a higher purpose. They began the day with a meal giveaway. Long tables were set with steaming dishes and fresh salads, a feast prepared lovingly by their own hands. As people filled their plates, smiles blossomed everywhere. But just as Sarah felt the rush of joy, a shadow crossed her mind. Will our efforts really make a difference? She wondered silently. In her heart, she sought reassurance, a divine reminder of their purpose. Suddenly, a woman approached quietly, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. She spoke softly. "I lost my job last month, and this hot meal is such a blessing. Thank you for reaching out to us like this." The woman's vulnerability hit Sarah with a visceral weight, stirring something profound within her spirit. This wasn't tea just giving food, they were sharing hope. It was then that Claire stepped forward, inviting the guests to share their own stories. One voice followed another, each tale revealing struggles, triumphs, and the power of community. As people spoke, the barriers of division crumbled away and hearts intertwined like strands of a single rope stronger together. Yet, amidst the beautiful revelations and heartfelt exchanges, Sarah sensed a greater invitation. Could this day become a launching point for ongoing compassion? The question lingered in her heart like sweet nectar, full of promise but shrouded in uncertainty. As the sun dipped toward the horizon, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink, Sarah gazed around, feeling the weight of shared joy and vulnerability. What was birthed in this moment felt like just the beginning. With the final smiles exchanged and blessings shared, Sarah looked at her friends. "What if we could turn this into a weekly gathering?" she proposed, a thrill racing through her veins. But just then, through the crowd, came a stirring silhouette, a figure her heart recognized. It was someone from her past, someone who could reshape everything she thought she knew about love and acceptance. What revelations would this untangling of hearts reveal? As the sun set on a day filled with miracles and shared laughter, Sarah's heart swelled with anticipation. She stood amidst the fading light, bathed in warmth and new hope. Yet, the arrival of that familiar figure from her past sent a fresh wave of emotion crashing over her. Her heart raced as she turned to look more closely. It was Alex, her childhood friend, an old flame whose unexpected presence felt like a divine twist in her journey. Longing and reluctance wrestled within her. The memories they shared flooded back. Emotions she had thought buried deep within flowed to the surface. How could this moment align with her newfound purpose? Courage ignited within Sarah. She stepped forward, allowing hope to pull her closer. "Alex, it's been so long." Her voice broke slightly, but beneath it lay the strength she had found in her journey of faith. Warmth sparked in Alex's eyes, reflecting recognition mixed with the same past they both shared. "Sarah, I heard about today, he smiled, but his voice trailed off, hesitation mingling with the comfort of nostalgia. I didn't realize how much this community meant to you. It means everything, she replied earnestly, feeling the tug of vulnerability. It's a space of healing that holds promise and connection. You should join us. As they began to converse, sharing bits of their lives since they last met, something shifted. Sarah's hesitations began to dissolve. She found herself recounting the miracles, the journey of her and Jacob's faith, the struggles, and a mountain of gratitude rising amidst community bonds. Alex listened intently, his gaze revealing layers of understanding and empathy. I'm glad you found this flame of purpose, he said softly, warmth washing over her like a healing balm. I've been searching for way back to faith. I lost my way for so long. A flicker of hope shone brightly in his voice, lighting the corners of their shared past. Then let us walk together, Sarah offered, a sudden realization striking her like a bolt of lightning. Come to my church. This place has renewed my spirit. It could do the same for you. His eyes shimmered, flashing with a mix of surprise and courage. I'd like that. Around them, the community buzzed with energy, laughter cascading like a waterfall as the day's reflections were shared. The atmosphere wrapped itself around Sarah and Alex, igniting a sense of divine orchestration. But the thought niggled at the back of Sarah's mind, sharing faith could mean rekindling deeper trust. Yet with it came the ghosts of their history. Would they tread upon the sacred ground they had once walked together, only to risk fracturing the delicate beauty that had emerged? As these thoughts danced in her mind, she felt a gentle nudge of clarity. Healing would come through openness. With newfound determination, she suggested to Alex, let us join our community group next week. Let them support us in finding our paths. Alex nodded, hesitant but visibly moved. I'd like to try to be part of this garden of faith you've cultivated. Days rolled forward, and the anticipation became palpable as Tuesday approached. By gathering at Harmony Chapel, Sarah felt in her spirit that their past could become woven into a story of redemption. Her faith held space for possibilities like seeds scattered on fertile soil, ready to bloom into something extraordinary. As they entered the chapel together, hearts intertwined with possibility and guarded hopes, the feeling of divine presence enveloped them. The aroma of flowers from the altar mingled with soft sounds of worship, wrapping around Sarah like a warm embrace. Welcome, Claire beamed as they stepped into the circle of women, who looked upon Alex with curious smiles. The atmosphere refracted kindness, acceptance, and transformative power. Tonight, we'll share stories of faith, Claire began, her voice full of warmth. Sarah's heart raced. It was here that the past, present, and future converged. This moment was not only for her, but for Alex a chance for him to witness God's vivid brushstrokes at work that would guide the next leg of their journey of transformation. With hearts open and spirits bright, each woman shared her journey, bringing laughter and tears alike. When it came time for Sarah to speak, she locked eyes with each face, seeing their trust and love. This community has brought hope into my life, especially in my darkest moments, she began, and the weight of her words carried the deeper truth they'd all come to know. After sharing her story, she turned to Alex. I want to introduce a friend, someone whose past intertwines with mine. Alex has come to seek hope and renew his spirit. Gasps of understanding and warmth swept through the circle, the acceptance palpable. Encouraging nods and smiles beckoned him forward into the fold. Alex hesitated, but seeing Sarah's unwavering belief allowed him to soften. He shared timidly at first, revealing his struggles, but breathing life into the hope he felt stirring. When he finished, a hush hung over the room, sacred and full of reverence. The atmosphere swelled, and one by one, the women welcomed him into the embrace of their prayers and encouragement. Claire moved over, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. No one walks alone in faith. We are all important threads in this tapestry of God's love. As the evening unfolded with stories and laughter, Sarah felt a profound shift within. The burdens of the past didn't vanish, but they transformed into a rich soil for growth. Gratitude washed over her heart, filling her spirit with a sense of sacred joy. As the gathering came to a close and prayers were lifted toward heaven, Sarah could hardly hold back the tears of joy. "God is at work," she whispered. "This is just the beginning of something even greater." In the heart of Harmony Chapel, friendships were rekindled, and hope blossomed like a garden nourished by faith. They shared the lessons learned and the stories woven through the bonds built. "Remember our promise?" Sarah felt the urge to voice it aloud for all to hear. Let us continue to be a community of love, to act out of gratitude, and cultivate our path together. Alex beamed, his past fears melting away as smiles danced around them, forging something precious. In that moment, Sarah understood the divine truth. They had stepped into their winning season, the manifestation of God's glorious purpose unraveling before them. Together, they would walk this sacred path toward revelations that would transform not just their lives, but many others. As they exited the chapel, a gentle breeze kissed their cheeks, whispering of the promise yet to unfold. Sarah looked back at the radiant light peering through the chapel windows, a beacon calling them forward, knowing with all her heart that this community would always rise to meet them on the journey ahead. As they took steps into this new chapter, Sarah felt a surge of faith. What incredible revelations await us, she thought, her spirit ignited with the blessings of divine possibility. Now, in these moments of connection and divine purpose, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel. Don't miss the next exclusive faith stories that could change your life forever. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and bless others with hope. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this ending. Your voice matters. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of love and faith. Don't wait even one more second. It could make all the difference for someone. Only true servants of God understand the importance of lifting each other in this divine journey. Join us and be part of something greater.